Meet SAE International. You might not know us, but we've been with you. For the past 100 years, we've been revolutionizing transportation and mobility, partnering and supporting the dreamers, innovators, and can-doers who are changing the world. It's the child whose future career as an engineer will be shaped by our STEM education programs. It's the businesswoman boarding her flight with peace of mind, knowing that our committees have created the standards that ensure she gets from Detroit to Delhi and back again safely. It's the parents-to-be who are sleeping soundly, knowing that their electric car is fully charged and ready when it's go time. Driven by a passion to advance mobility knowledge and solutions, SAE's global community of over 200,000 engineers, technical experts, and volunteers continues to develop and curate the most reliable and comprehensive collection of engineering resources and consensus-based standards on Earth. The next mobility revolution is upon us. Connected and automated, electrified and sustainable. SAE will be here, as we have for the last 100 years, moving the world forward.
Well, hey guys, welcome again to the presentation. My name is Khalid, Walton. Thank you for joining today, and really appreciate SAE for having ProTech Group here today. Before we get started, I do want to address a couple housekeeping items. All are muted, and the microphones and the cameras are turned off, and that's just to keep the integrity of the meeting. Please do not try to unmute yourself or turn on the cameras during this discussion out of the courtesy of the ProTech team and the speaker. But we do encourage you to use the chat function that's on the Zoom to ask any questions that you may have throughout the presentation. Any questions you have will be addressed at the end of the presentation so that we can continue on and keep things moving properly. If you have to leave for any reasons, please know that the video will be posted on SAE's Detroit Section's YouTube channel later. Today we're going to be talking with Earle B. Higgins. He is the founder and chief executive officer for ProTech Group here in Southfield, Michigan. And he's going to be discussing how a revolutionary container and an alternate shipping method can help improve supply chain distribution by reducing empty rail miles. Welcome, Earle.
I'd like to start with a video presentation, and we'll be back with you in a second. 66,000 rail cars, a third of them, come back to the assembly plants empty annually.
The ProTech idea is more about trying to be more efficient in the logistics side.
We found a product that we can be innovative with.
Just imagine steel folding down a rack that's almost 5 feet, and then you see it fold down to less than 2 feet. And you can, and stackable on top of that, which means it's easy to store, easy to transport, a game-changing product.
There's never been a container that large that collapsed. We could ship them back to the destination 10 to 1. We get 36 pallets in each rail car. In our estimate, a minimum, with using 50 cars, they would be able to save $4 million annually. And 50 cars will save 20 million gallons of fuel.
You think about the pollution, you think about being green.
Taking trucks off the road, you're taking hazard. There's a shortage of drivers.
That's what ProTech means to me. The efficiency, environmentally sound, to help everybody in the end save money as well.
Definitely, if you get 360 miles on the rail and you're getting 7 on the truck, that's a no-brainer.
The world doesn't always know what it needs. You have to show them. And that's what this container's done.
We're always looking at opportunities to improve our quality and innovate into something different and new.
I don't think they knew they needed it, but once you see it, the potential is unlimited. We got to unleash this on the world.
Thank you. I'd like to say that our team has more than 100 years of experience in the automotive landscape. ProTech has introduced the first mobile collapsible container system continuously evolving the current transport and logistics solutions that promote safety and sustainability. Our current process, as you saw in the video, empty autoracks, 66,000 are pooled in the auto industry today and transport new vehicles. Approximately 60,000 of those autoracks are repositioned back to the assembly facilities empty. The OEM spent an estimate of $1.88 trillion every year to transport components. Empty autoracks equals wasted dollars. ProTech, we have 3 containers that we provide, and our specifications are in the presentation. We have a long one, a standard one, and a stubby. Stackable to 10 containers high when collapsed, and can stack up to 20 containers high. The opportunity, ProTech logistics system can improve the way you move components and parts. Our containers are reusable. In industry first, as I mentioned before, containers are collapsible and easy to store, economically returned and reused. Containers can be expanded and collapsed in less than 4 minutes. Ready for long haul, containers are made durable and to ensure that parts arrive unscathed, built with heavy duty steel framing and strong weather resistant material. The containers hold up to 4,500 pounds. Compatible, containers are 100% compatible with the existing assets for the rail companies. Seamless integration and scheduling and monitoring system to make sure the parts get to the facilities on a timely manner and tracked. And how does it work? We say it's load, track, monitor, and deliver. Autoracks versus semi-truck study. 1, long haul fuel costs. We evaluated that fuel costs of transporting commodities on rail autorack versus semi-trucks and travel distance between California and Michigan, approximately 2,200 miles. If you're talking about 2,200 miles at $1.25 a mile, equals $2,750. And on the semi-truck, the same mileage at $3.85 per mile is $8,470. So you could see the difference in the cost disparity. The autoracks versus semi-truck study 2, manpower and driver shortage. If we took 52 semi-trucks, it would take 52 drivers. If we used 52 rail autoracks, it would take 2 drivers. With the same productivity, it's a no-brainer. Our timeline, we passed the AAR testing in 2016. We also passed the OEM engineering testing in 2019. And again, in 2021, we passed 2 pallets testing for an OEM. Cost effective utilizing existing empty autoracks, better fuel mileage versus trucks. Integrate and not interrupt its components and improve the way companies move items and products. We would like to thank you, SAE members, for this opportunity to present our company to you today.
Okay, so in addition to Earle's conversation, I do want to also put some emphasis on more parts of the container. And I do want to highlight a video that really details how the container works and how it integrates within the system.
ProTech introduces the industry-first collapsible container system. This innovative container utilizes empty autoracks being returned after vehicles are shipped across the country. ProTech containers are simply unfolded, filled with pallets of parts, and loaded into the deadheading rail cars. The container's patented design is compatible with standard autoracks without modifications, and a bi-level autorack can fit up to 18 containers for a total of 36 pallets. The ProTech container is quickly loaded, tightly secured, and safely shipped. To learn more, visit protechgroup.us.
And that really gives a great detail about how the container works and how it's loaded into the autorack and it's moved after a vehicle is removed from the autorack and how the container is loaded. And as you can see, it holds up to 18 of the containers, and it's 100% compatible. There's no issues, no additional sort of sort of provisions or anything additional equipment that's needed for that as well. To talk more about the logistics system and how it works, as Earle said, is load, tracks, and monitors and deliver. The ProTech Group system, or the ProTech system, is completely integrated. So when we say integrated and not interrupted, you can see here on this presentation that the current system where the autorack comes from the assembly plant and it has vehicles into it, it goes into that rail yard. When it goes into that rail yard, it deadheads back into an existing location or back into the assembly plant. What the ProTech system does is it short hauls parts and components destined for the assembly plant to the rail yard where they are transferring to the ProTech containers. So as you see to the right of this diagram, that a truck takes the ProTech container and the commodities into the rail yard. So before that autorack is deadheads back into its predestined destination, it's loaded with the ProTech container and those items that are typically destined to go there anyway, but we're using a method that's already being done instead of using the long haul of rail, or not rail, but trailer trucks and drivers with the shortage. This solution helps alleviate that and get those parts to the same predestined location without the use of having a lot of drivers on there. As we said in the slide a little bit later, there's only 2 people that's needed for this system to get to the destination with the railroad, or with the railroad, as opposed to using approximately about 52 drivers to be able to get the same volume to its predestined destination. And we do have some FAQs here. Some of the common questions that we are experiencing, and I'm sure that you guys also have these questions, is how long does it take to load a single autorack with the ProTech container? From our estimate and through all of our pilots, it's approximately about 3 minutes to load a single vehicle. So we're using that same timeline. It's comparable to how long it takes to load a ProTech container. The other question that we typically may have would be the ProTech containers fit in an autorack. How many of those? As we said, 18 long containers and then 24 standard containers. And then we also have a version which is a stubby, which is a little bit smaller, and that's 36. So a string of autoracks can hold up to approximately 2,000 or more standard ProTech containers. And that's a lot of parts that's being moved across the country in a long haul manner. How many standard shipping pallets can a ProTech container hold? That's 2 per long container and 2 per standard container. Only 1 pallet can be moved in the stubby size. Then how does the ProTech container return to the supplier? That's one of our biggest questions. The rail industry wants to make sure that those autoracks, make sure that the container and those autoracks return to those destinations. But one of the best things about the ProTech container is that it's collapsible. And again, it's the industry's first collapsible container. So it can be shipped back to its original destination for shipping, again, by intermodal. The ProTech container can be stacked in groups of 10. And that's one of the major benefits of it. It doesn't take up a lot of space in the rail yard, and it can fit into the existing containers that ship back to those predestination locations. And the last one is, who do we contact for more information? So I definitely want to leave that with you guys. protechgroup.us/contact, or feel free to email sales@protechgroup.us. Now we do want to open it up for questions if you may have any. So one of the questions, Earle, that we have is, It appears that the Protect containers come in 3 different sizes. All sizes fit in autoracks car without modification. And also when the containers reach their terminal destination, how is further distribution of components transported and handled?
We call it, to answer your question, yes, we build the containers and patent the containers to make sure that there was no change to the current assets of the railroad. And how do they get, once they're shipped to the destination, how do they get to the assembly plants or the distribution centers? We call it the last mile, the last 100 miles. Anything within that radius, we put it on the truck and deliver it to the destination.
Another question that we have in the chat is, are Protect containers being used in production in North America, Canada, and Mexico?
Not at this moment. We're in the process of looking for channel partners to move this process forward. We do have a couple rail companies that's endorsed this process and willing to work with us to move this great opportunity forward.
So another question, Earle, that came through the chat is, how do you tie down your containers during rail transit?
Great question. We tie down the containers the same way they do the vehicles. We use the clap down process as they do on the vehicles. So there's no change in anything.
Another question we have, and the questions are rolling in, Earle. How is the security of contacts ensured?
The containers are locked, and by being inside an autorack, if you know what an autorack looks like, the autoracks are locked, and there's in a covered vehicle, or the autoracks are covered totally and locked at each end for shipment. And the containers are also locked and sealed.
So Dinesh, I think your question was answered. How do you ensure rain and weather proofed? And Earle, I can help answer this question. The container is weather resistant. It's high grade steel, and the frame is high quality as well. And to Earle's point, that's one of the ways that we make sure that any sort of commodities or variable items that are being shipped arrive to their destination secured and protected and no damages. So someone asked, can you introduce your founding team and who is your ideal client? And are there any further testing plans?
More than likely, each customer that we engage will want to see a test prior to facilitating the contract. So our team, as I mentioned earlier, we got over 100 years experience. We have a former rail executive, Jeff Grandstaff, former executive from Lear Corporation, Jimmy Comer. So we have a team that's put together that is capable and understand the landscape of the supply chain and manufacturing.
Another question we have here in the chat, Earle, when the containers are stacked, how are they secured as one bundle? Are there any sort of interlocking to the containers?
It's an interlocking system. On each end of the container, you'll see a knob where they sit in those spots, or those grooves.
Are there any other questions in the chat room? I do have a question that came in through text message just now. Someone asked if there's an opportunity to show the screen with more that detail the different sizes. So I'm just going to pop that up back on the screen for everyone here. And while we pop that up, Earle, maybe you can explain the different sizes and talk a little bit more about the weight and give more information in that regard.
As most of you probably know, that most of the pallets are different sizes. We can make our pallets based on the product that we're moving, so we're not totally focused on just those 3 that we have currently, but those containers basically meet the requirements that our customers that we've been engaged with wanted to see that we built. Do you have it up?
Are there any other questions in the chat? Any competitors, Earle?
Well, we have a patented process, and so at this point, no, we don't have anyone else that has the ability to do what we're doing. We also, our patent is on the process as well. And as I said, we are always improving on new equipment to make sure that this process is better than the best.
So another question is, if there's no extra content you can build off. Oh, that's not a question. Wait, there it is. So any thoughts on how this may come to the aid of current supply chain dilemma? Is it feasible to move goods from current containers to your system?
That is a good question because we're talking to one of the major rail companies now that has endorsed our project and our process to try to help alleviate some of the backlog and disruption at the ports. We think that this would be an opportunity to expedite the backlog that they have currently at those ports. And the containers the sea containers that sitting in storage down there, it gives them an opportunity to send them back to their destination as well.
Okay, any other questions? Okay. Oh, another question came in. So please explain how goods are added to the collapsible container and then how are the goods removed?
We have a loader that allows us to take the containers outside or the pallets outside of our boxes, and we put them into a semi-trailer for the last 100 miles to the destination. We do all of this at the unloading location.
Okay. All right, great. Well, everyone, thank you for joining today and thank you for all the questions. Definitely want to thank SAE again for allowing us to share the ProTech container system and introduce ProTech Group to the industry here even further.